Well, Tom and Rick, Gregg Olson had the honor of representing the Orioles with Trip Norton at the MLB draft. And for you, that had to be deja vu. You're a former first-round pick, and you got to see the first-round pick before it was announced.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was, something different. They obviously didn't have this 30 years ago when I was there with the MLB draft room and everything else. But it was entertaining to watch the process and then, find out more about him, 3 seconds later on TV.
There's certainly a lot that goes with being a #1 pick, and you know that because you were a #1 pick back in 1988. Maybe not a good example because by September that year you were in the big leagues. But as a #1 pick, what do these picks have to look forward to as they try to make their way as a pro?
You know what? You get a little bit more of leeway than a 10th round pick or 20th round pick because of your first round pick. Somebody's laying their job on the line, picking you. And so you'll get a little bit more room to fail, but there's also probably an internal pressure of, on first round pick, I have to be the big leagues, and you set a timeline for yourself that's probably unrealistic, and you have to deal with that.
Now, developing young pitching at the big league level is always a challenge. We see the Orioles going through it with Dylan Bundy, with Kevin Gausman, with Tanner Scott. What have you observed in the games that you've watched the Orioles in person with the young pitching and how they're developing?
Well, you know what? I mean, they're very talented, and that's obviously stating an obvious opinion. But when you're coming through the minor leagues, and I wasn't there very long, but you're trying to find yourself. You're trying to find out what you do well, what you do best, how how do you get hitters out. And it doesn't necessarily always equate that, me getting hitters out in A-ball is going to work the same way in the big leagues. But you're learning about yourself. So when they get here, they should have a concept of what they want to do and go about how they prepare for the games, how their bullpens are, how they, try to get guys out where they should. And some guys are rushed up here, and the college system isn't helping things a lot because everybody's calling pitches. And so these kids really don't have much of a concept coming through, and then they get to the minor leagues and they got to figure it out. And if they're fast-tracked up, they haven't figured out a whole lot.
There is something exciting, however, about an organization developing their own young pitching. You were part of that way back when. In fact, you were part of that '89 team, the Why Not team, with a lot of young players. And we're beginning to see that as the players come through the system with guys like Tanner Scott in the bullpen now and Kevin and Dylan in the rotation. There's an excitement to having your own come through your system and then watching them succeed.
Well, we've talked about it for 30 years. When I got here, it was the Oriole way. And, the Ripkins did it a certain way, and this is the way we did it. And you can see that, the guys in the minor leagues, the pitching coaches and the hitting coaches have a mantra that, this is the way the Orioles do it. And so when these guys do come up, you start seeing more of the Oriole way. And it is exciting.